Welcome everybody to the final presentation of the day here in track 1. Please again make sure your cell phones are silent and if you do leave, go outside doors. We have Dimitri Weaver here with a still cracking WPA2, prevalence and password weakness in 2026. Let's give him a round of applause.
Give yourselves a round of applause for sticking around so long. I appreciate it. Yeah, the last couple talks are usually pretty rough. People die out. So again, pat yourselves on the back, give yourselves a round of applause. So I appreciate that. Let me start my timer. Okay. So as he introduced, I'm Dimitri, and I'll be presenting the still cracking WPA2 prevalence and password weaknesses in 2026. Realistically, this talk exists because I stopped. I had the hardware, right? I had routes planned, I had a research protocol written out, phase 1, phase 2, but I didn't have legal authorization, so I had to stop. I didn't have somebody who could audit and say, like, yeah, you're not going to cause harm to the public. So I did build out this talk of what I could do legally. In the next 20 minutes, I'd like to take away that WPA2 is still prevalent, and it's not a solved problem. It's the dominant wireless protocol in this city, probably in your neighborhood, and possibly even in your homes. We're going to cover the mechanisms, beacon frames, 4-way handshake, and the PMKID itself. We're going to look at the real numbers that I pulled and compare it to WIGLE, or Wiggly, as I'll call it. I don't know what you guys pronounce it, or if it's part of the tool. WIGLE. I'm going to call it Wiggly. Any good PowerPoint needs an agenda. We're going to go over the introductions and disclaimers. Then we're going to move into the foundations of Wi-Fi. After that, specifically WPA2, and then focusing even more on the PMKID itself. Then we'll look at real-world numbers, and then we'll wrap up with what you can actually do about it and what my next steps are in research. We'll have references at the end. So, a little bit about me. I suck at describing myself. The only thing that matters on this slide is that I like to break things for fun in my free time, and that I think like an attacker. And I only do attacker things with permission. So, warning. There's a boring legal disclaimer coming up next. It's very important as red teamers to do things legally and for the benefit of the community. So, never crack or attempt to capture hashes of networks you do not have written authorization, not just because you're curious, but actual written authorization. A few laws to keep in mind is the CFAA, which is the Computer Fraud Abuse Act. That's the big federal law. And then there is also the ECPA. Both use very loose language so that prosecutors can be creative when they charge you. Okay? Getting a little bit closer to home, we have Penal Code 156. And then finally, we have what our friend is, as researchers, is the DOJ good faith law. Right? That allows us to conduct this type of research without going to prison. Another takeaway, you can get both a federal charge and a state charge. They do not preempt one. Be careful. Quick rundown of the methodology. Phase 1, I just did passive scans of a major city. I will not give you the name of the city, but we can take guesses. All I did was listen for what Wi-Fi's naturally broadcasts. It's the same thing that your phone does. The only difference is I put it into a database and analyze it later. Phase 2 was separate. I did proof of concept it in my own lab and against networks that I did have written authorization. That got hung up there. Yeah, that entails actually gathering the hash from public networks. Couldn't do that. Moving on. So, foundations of Wi-Fi. Every 10 seconds, all access points are screaming out every 10 seconds. This is my Wi-Fi name. This is my MAC address. This is the security protocols I use. This is the channel that I'm on and my signal strength. Every 10 seconds. Sorry, every 10th of a second, signal strength and channel is broadcast. It's, that's it. Perfect. Diving a little bit deeper to the WPA2, we're going to look at the four-way handshake. Right? The stuff that we care about. To be able to get on that network, we need to know what the password is, right? Fun fact, in that four-way handshake, the password is actually never sent over the air. It gets turned into what's called a password master key. That password master key then gets mixed up with a bunch of random letters or norms, 4,096 times, and gives you a 256-bit hash. That 250-bit hash is turned into a session key, and that's split up to handle the different parts of authentication, network encryption, and the actual key exchange itself. So, what is the PMKID? It was actually added to the WPA2 protocol as a performance feature or a roaming feature. So when you leave the range of the Wi-Fi and come back, you don't have to go through the whole four-way handshake. It's quicker. Or if you move between two access points, the transition is more seamless. Jens Stubbs, the dude that wrote Hashcat, or the person that wrote Hashcat, I'm actually not sure of the gender. So, back in 2018, found out you can just ask the Wi-Fi for this PMKID and it'll hand it over. One frame. You just hand it over, you can walk away, go sip coffee, and crack it at home. So this is what the PMKID formula is, like how it's complicated. The bad with acronyms is another good thing about me. The password-based key derivation, which is a public formula you can get from the 802.11 framework. You can reference that to find it. You can just look up this formula to compute these mathematical equations. So, but to get it, you have the AA, which is the access points MAC address, and then you have the client MAC address, and then this literal string PMKID, and then the PMK, which is the password master key. Right? So it's not the actual password, but it's a hashed version, a 256-bit hash version of the password. So really the only variable that we don't know as an attacker in this exchange of information is that PMKID. But we do know the mathematical equation used to guess it, right? So if we can get the PMKID, we can use a password list to hash those password guesses, right? And then we can compare the two hashes, and if they match, guess what? We're in, right? So, fun fact, this was a mistake. The researcher that discovered this was trying to break WPA3, and just noticing the first message, here's my hash to my password. Nice, right? Before this, you needed a client on the network or somebody actively trying to connect to the network, and you watch, right? If the client was connected, you had to send a de-auth packet to get them to disconnect and reconnect, so you can actually see that full four-way handshake. Now, you just ask the access point, and it gives it to you on your merry way. Very noisy before, almost nothing now. You get one little blip, that's it. And if we're honest, humans are humans, and we're not maybe lazy, but we don't necessarily always make the best passwords, especially at home. We want ease of access. Most of us here are probably IT people, right? We don't want to deal with hard passwords. We just want to, just like regular users do. So, what do the real numbers look like? 74% of the population is still using WPA2. And I pulled this and compared this with 1.7 billion access points uploaded to Wiki. Now, I collected about 20,000 myself for my survey, and the numbers compared. So one major city in the U.S., 74%. 3.22% is on WPA, which is great, but it's more of an install-based problem. Like, nobody's getting rid of their routers unless they're broken.
Presumably the remaining 23% are like unprotected or?
Wide open or very little WPS, which was kind of nice to see.
Have you found, probably you won't maybe find it by scanning, but anecdotally, find that it's the clients that tend to hold networks back because they need that backwards compatibility? Like I think a bunch of my smart plugs in my house,
Right.
like, we only do WPA2 because we got to use this tiny little password.
So we're asking like if manufacturer
Right.
hold back, and I would say yes. But in 2020, it's mandatory to be on new technology, right? Like you have to make it. So anything manufactured before that can have WPA2, but it's mandated now to be based on.
So I got to spend more money.
You will eventually, but WPA3 is backwards compatible. It can work with WPA2 devices because of this thing, which is honestly the only, at least off the top of my head, vulnerability WPA3 has is a downgrade. Back to this. I'm sorry, did that answer your question?
It did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We had a similar researcher in Singapore. If you can, I believe I have it in my resources, but if you can read his report, do it. It's very thorough, very detailed. Shows you like how the math actually works with all of this, the whole 802.11 framework. He captured about 3,000 networks, PMKID hatchers, and he was only able to capture or break 16% of them in a study we've done. I don't recall what that was off the top of my head, so I'm sorry. He saw that an 8-digit character or 8-digit numeric password fell in under 10 minutes, and that a lot of default creds are everywhere, which is not news to many of us, right? Another research group called Deep Strike in 2025 set up a 12 5090 rig setup, and they were able to brute force, so kept guessing each possible answer, an 8-character lowercase password, and that took 3 weeks. That's a lot of horsepower, like 12 GPUs is a lot, so it's impressive. But coupled with a word list, took minutes. Right?
Yeah.
And we can get really creative with our word lists. I don't know if we know what permutation is or mutation is. Just add a couple extra things at the beginning, or maybe move some stuff around. Or if you know a certain ISP sets up their default router password to be 2 dictionary words with a dash in the middle, right? You build a password list out of that. Or if you know a specific company, you can crawl their website and get very detailed words that are likely in their passwords.
What's the popular or famous password is?
Yes, the Rocky database is what you're talking, like the password list that's popular. Yeah, the Rocky database is the most common, most popular. Even today, you find password lists like all over the internet, but that's probably the most stable and current. Well, yeah, most stable you can use for research. And then coupled again with permutation, like mixing up the order or adding extra words to it, can really push it along. So where do I go next? I got to get someone to audit what my research actually looks like, so that I can actually collect these PMKIDs and hit them against action hat. Okay? But I just want to highlight the HCX dump tool. It's the tool built to capture. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? Somebody already built a tool that will elicit and capture this PMKID for you. Make it easy. You can use other tools like Kismet. Kismet will also do the same thing, but this targets this specific. So what can we do about it to fix it? The easiest thing, in my opinion, upgrade your router to support WPA3. Use your devices to only use WPA3. Next, use strong 12 random character passwords. They're the most brute force resistant. Next, disabling WPS, which I saw like maybe like 1 or 2%, which was kind of cool. I saw way more open networks, which I think is kind of common. People don't want to put in passwords in like coffee shops and stuff. They just want you to sign in, maybe hit like a disclaimer that says you won't do bad things on the internet. The next thing, patch Tuesday. Upgrade your stuff. Make a habit of it at home, in your job, drive it home. Keep your stuff up to date. The last thing, for people in the enterprise environment, we do have 802.1x, which introduces cert-based authentication. And if there's no pre-shared key, you can't crack it. There is a very esoteric attack where you can be on the actual physical network itself to capture the cert, and then you can use it to break the Wi-Fi, but it's a little more sophisticated and out of scope for this time. That's it. WPA2 is still everywhere. It'll hopefully phase out in the next 2 to 3, 5, 10 years. We'll see. Yeah. If you want to see the resources and the slide deck, you can scan. You can email anything at that URL or that domain. You gotta look real careful. There's some typo swatting in there. It's not. There's not an N. It's RN. Okay. That's my talk. I hope you guys have any questions. Please come see me. Email me. I appreciate your company.
Was WPA3 as part of like a Wi-Fi standard? Was it running like Wi-Fi 6, or was it independent from Wi-Fi standards?
WPA3. Oh, yeah. It's a different protocol from.
Yeah, but it's not tied to
No,
specific like
not
660.
specifically WPA3.
Okay,
No, that's like another iteration of like the actual wireless.
Yeah, the frequencies and
Yes,
channels,
correct,
etc.
yes.
But so do you need to be on a certain standard, or would that be backwards compatible to a certain
Honestly,
standard?
like I was saying, the only vulnerability off the top of my head that I can think of for WPA3 is going to be a downgrade attack.
Yeah.
Most routers that support WPA3 are also able to do WPA2, and they'll just, if I tell my phone to only use WPA2,
Yeah.
connect to your router, it'll use WPA2.
There's still like WRT 54Gs out there, right?
Say it one more time.
There's people still using WRT 54Gs out there, right?
I'm not,
That's like the old school
The old
Linksys.
Linksys.
Right, so
That
what
right?
you would do is you take a little Linksys router and you flash it with an open source firmware.
okay.
WRT,
I got you.
and I use that for, oh man,
Yeah,
I
a
miss
little
that.
portable router.
Yeah, and it was just, you just use an old commodity router and just flash it. It gave you a few more capabilities.
I finally retired mine.
That's a nugget of information. A Raspberry Pi 4 has drivers for its wireless card to go into monitoring. You don't need an actual separate adapter. You just do a Raspberry Pi 4. B? Let me say Raspberry 4 Pi.
B.
4. Just 4, I'm pretty sure, but thank you. Anything else?
Just give Dimitri, oh,
No, I definitely have to go home and
Yeah.
check my router settings.
Yeah. Make sure we're on WPA3. Yes, please. Thank you. You'll have